Welcome back to Marine 250 from sea to shore, right here on Real America's Voice.
All right, straight back to Florida, where we have Bo Davidson with the likely next governor of Florida, Byron Donalds. He serves Florida 19 right now, but he's moving up. He's going to take over the whole state. Byron Donalds, Bo, take it away.
Absolutely, Steve. Yeah, I do think this is the next governor of Florida sitting to my side here. Congressman, Florida's been an outlier and an example for many other states to follow, specifically when it comes to parental rights. How did Florida become a haven for the nuclear family unit?
Well, Florida has always been a state that stood for the family and for parents to be at the head of the table. Even when we were a purple state and we're battling the left and battling the Democrats in Tallahassee, the push was always for school choice. The push was always for the different tax credit scholarships at the time to give parents opportunities. When I was in the legislature, I passed the first bill of its kind in the country that gave parents the ability to examine all instructional materials that were in front of their children. Rick Scott was governor when that was signed into law. And then when Governor DeSantis came in, and this is one of the key things he did in his administration, when he picked 3 new Supreme Court justices in the state of Florida, making it a more conservative-leaning court, then that's when we went to full universal choice in our state, Parents' Bill of Rights. My former colleague, Senator Erin Grahl, she was a champion of that when she was in the State House, now a state senator. And you've had so many people who have always stood behind this common principle that parents are the ones who should be dictating what goes on in the lives of their kids. Florida's not going to stop. We're going to continue to make sure parents are at the head of the table.
Yeah, they've certainly been a paradigm for sure. Well, you're running for governor now, a position I feel like you were primed for a long time ago, even from the day that I met you. Tell me how a 17-year-old boy who came to the Sunshine State on a Greyhound bus may achieve the highest office in the state.
Wow, when you ask it like that, it really is a mouthful. Honestly, Florida's a meritocracy. And I think in our state, we always respect the hard work of people, no matter what they're doing in their walk of life. That's why more people are coming to our state. That's why we're in the position where California used to be, where now what happens in Florida dictates the policy and the political culture and the culture overall of where the rest of the United States is going. And so, honestly, it was a lot of hard work, the grace of God, my wife and my kids having a strong family unit at home back in Naples, Florida, the tutelage that my mother gave me before I came to Florida, and then just being blessed to be in a community where people decided to take a chance on me being their representative, and then also to stand behind me as we continue to make tough calls and make the right calls and stand for conservative policy. Florida is the meritocracy, and I think that for me what it illustrates is that anybody can be successful here in the great state of Florida.
Without a doubt. And Congressman, I think a really compelling part of your story I actually didn't know was that you found Jesus at a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't think that you could find Jesus necessarily over hash brown casserole, or in your case, serving it, but you did.
Yeah.
And I just would like you to touch on that, because we talk about the battle of good and evil here at this conference and just in general, but you found God in maybe an inopportune place. Tell me how that happened.
I was, at that point in my life, I was really struggling. I made a lot of stupid mistakes when I was 18, 19, and 20. I regret those times. But what I always taught kids that I would either coach or mentor is that in life, when you mess up, you make up, but you never give up. And so through that process, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she got me going to church, and you're going to church and you're listening to the sermons. But when I gave my life to Christ, the Lord had really been dealing with me about really giving my life to Him. And really becoming a born-again Christian. And it all came together and culminated when I was at work. I had a 12 top. They were coming from a revival. And the Lord told me, stop running from me. And I went and I caught my table as they were leaving. We were outside in the parking lot. I caught them before they got on their bus. They asked me what was going on. And I said, man, the Lord told me to stop running. And they all came out of the van. They prayed over my life. I gave my life to Christ then. And you just don't look back, and you keep building every day to be a better person than you were the day before.
You never know where you're going to find Jesus, that's for sure. What does Congressman Byron Donalds say to teenager Byron Donalds?
Oh, my gosh. Listen to your mother. Listen to your mother. She's right. Really lock in and don't take this time for granted. I think having 3 sons myself, I'm now on my 3rd teenager. My youngest is 14. the one thing I always try to help them understand is that your future self is waiting for you to be disciplined and focused on the things that matter. Whether you're 13, 15, 17, it's the adult version of us that really needs that time under pressure of focus, no matter what it is. If it's college, if it's sports, if it's you're going straight into the workforce, you have a passion about something. It's about being diligent about those things. And then also understanding you still have time for friends. You'll still have time to have fun and enjoy yourself. But that focus of time and really concentrating on things that matter is critically important. Now, the other thing I would say is, well, I guess he kind of did do it, but don't be afraid to fail. You know, in life, a lot of times what stops us is us. Because you're always going to have naysayers. There's always going to be people who are going to be opposed to you. That's a fact of life. But bet on yourself and do the hard thing. Don't be afraid of that. And that would be my advice to teenager me from now.
You mentioned being the father of three terrific boys, and I just had a boy of my own. What do you know now as a parent that you didn't know when they were just tots?
Oh, my gosh. That despite all the things that happens when you're a parent of children, just love them and hold them accountable.
Yeah, you've been giving me some good advice.
Just love them and hold them accountable. It works.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't look, especially in the teenage years, things are crazy. Sometimes you're not sure where this is going. Love them, hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the quality time with them. The quality time is the stuff I think your kids take with them as they mature and get older more than anything else.
Let's do a little bit of politics. Zoran Mamdani looks like he's going to be New York's next mayor.
Yeah.
It seems that way, unfortunately. Does New York, do you think, John Solomon said this yesterday, does New York need to hit rock bottom for an everyone exit for them to understand exactly what's at stake?
I don't want to go that far. I think what needs to happen, honestly, and this is more on the conservative side of what's happening in New York, we have to begin to break the mold of what campaigning in New York looks like. It's not just about speeches to groups. It can't just be about door knocking. It has to be, walking the streets, engaging New Yorkers on a day-to-day basis. I think the campaign and marketing and focus has to be much more guerrilla marketing if you're going to be successful in a venue like New York. A lot of Republicans have left New York. They've come here.
Sure.
They've gone to other places. But that doesn't mean that the independent voters that are there, or even the registered Democrat voters who just vote Democrat, they still want the same thing that everybody else wants. They want safe streets. They want an economy that's going to work. They want a pathway of success for their children. And I think that Republicans, conservatives in New York, if that is the bedrock of what they're campaigning for, I think they'll be much more successful into the future.
Congressman, I was looking at your X account. You talked about how this is a Democrat shutdown because every time Republicans have voted to reopen it, Democrats shut it down again.
Right.
This can't be popular with their constituents, I wouldn't imagine. But when do they cry uncle?
Honestly, I think we're probably going to see an end to this probably over the next 2 weeks, but we'll see. And the reason why is a lot of paychecks for a lot of different aspects of the government have to go out at the end of the month. The military obviously being the major one, but you have TSA, air traffic controllers, DEA, ATF, the FBI, a lot of other sensitive groups that do work in our government where you never hear about them. They just do their job, but they're actually doing the right thing and working hard on behalf of our country. All that is going to start to hit. Funding for WIC, funding for SNAP benefits, all that's starting to hit. And so Republicans, we've been consistent. Every time a vote is on the Senate floor, Republicans have voted to keep the government open or to reopen the government. There are 3 Democrats who are voting with Republicans: John Fetterman, Angus King, Cortez Masto out of Nevada. They are voting with Republicans. But you have Chuck Schumer, who right now is trying to be a tough guy. He's trying to demonstrate that he's tough enough to stand up to Donald Trump, and this is a political shutdown of the making of the Democratic left. The Democratic left wants obscene funding for health care for illegals. That's what they want. They want to spend another $1.5 trillion on top of what we're spending today, because somewhere in their mind, they thought they won the presidential election last year, and they really won last year. They didn't. They lost. But they can't take that. And their base is so radical, they would rather shut down the government to prove that they can stand up to Donald Trump and get health care for illegal aliens. They are not standing for the American people. I think this comes to an end over the next 2 weeks, because that reality is going to continue to be talked about day after day after day. When you got John Fetterman out there saying that this is of the Democrats' making, you got a problem.
That's for sure. Well, Congressman, my last question for you is more faith-based, because we do talk about good and evil. James Lipton on Inside the Actor Studio, the last question he'd ever ask any actor, he would say, if God exists, what do you hope that God will say when you enter the pearly gates? I'm going to rephrase that, because heaven does exist.
Yes.
So because heaven exists, what do you hope God will say to you as you enter the pearly gates?
You never gave up on yourself, and I never gave up on you.
That's words to ponder there. It's incredible. Everyone, Congressman Byron Donalds, is this the next future governor of this great state? Thank you, Congressman, for your time. Steve, you got any questions for the Congressman before he takes off?
Steve, by the way, it's good to see you in the little box on the screen in front of me. It's good seeing you, Steve. I can't hear you, but it's good to see you anyway.
He'll
be piped through.
That's right. Tell him his wife comes on a lot with us. We appreciate it. We'd like to see him more often on the program. But thank you. Great interview. I look forward to him being the governor of Florida. You can congratulate him on a great race, both. Thank you very much. There you have it. All right. I realize there are many choices when it comes to who you choose for your cell phone service. There are new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for. That, my friends, Patriot Mobile. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while also providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all three of the main networks. Don't just take my word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've already made the switch and are now supporting causes they believe in simply by joining Patriot Mobile. Switching easier than ever. Activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number, keep your phone, or, yes, upgrade if you'd like to. Patriot Mobile's all U.S.-based support team standing by to take care of you right now. You can call 972-PATRIOT today, or you can go to patriotmobile.com/SaveUSA. Patriot Mobile's code of SaveUSA will get you a free month of service today. That's patriotmobile.com/SaveUSA, or call 972-PATRIOT. Make that switch today. We'll look forward to it. We'll take a break and be back. We're going to continue our coverage out of Florida with Bo Davidson. And, of course, in Camp Pendleton, California, we're waiting for the big show from the United States Marines. We'll be right back.